Welcome back to Zach's Travel. I have another great video for you today. It's all about Italy, Rome, and Europe, about how to get around. Transportation, do you walk, do you take the train, do you take taxis, Ubers, all that good stuff. Here we go. A lot of you have asked me, reached out to me via email in the comments or on social media. I'm going to Rome for the first time, or I'm going to Barcelona for the first time. How do I get around? How do I get from the airport to my hotel? All that good stuff. So that is what this video is for. I'm gonna help you guys. Very simple. It's a quick video, and by the time it's over, you will know that it's very simple, very easy, and you'll be good to go. Links are down in the description below. There's links to the transportation stuff we used, if it was set up prior to the trip, which you can do for like airport transports, or if you're going on a cruise and all that kind of stuff. The first one I'll talk about is a site, I guess you call it, a website or a company that my travel agent actually turned me on to, called Viator. Now, Viator is an awesome company. Again, I'll put the links down in the description below, right underneath the subscribe button. And you can set up all kinds of tours. We used it for like the Vatican tour, our all-seeing bus tour, a lot of stuff in Barcelona, like our Sangria de Familia tour. There's tons of tours on there, great pricing. It's all in English. You can book in American dollars or in any currency you want to, and it's all pre-set up, prepaid, so when you get there you don't have the stress of figuring it out or where to go, and it lets you plan. And you know, I'm a planner, I do a lot of research. That's what this channel is all about, to help you not have to do that. So Viator also helps you with what is called transfers or transportation or transports, different languages or different terms that all mean the same thing. How do you get from A to B? So we use them for airport to hotel and hotel back to airport. We also use them for hotel to cruise and cruise back to hotel. We use them for some transportation in Europe when we were touring like Barcelona and France, stuff like that. So you can choose what level you want to be at. So if you have the budget to have a really nice Mercedes car pick you up and you only have like 2 pieces of luggage and 2 people, you can do that. Or if you have a whole group of people, you can get a really nice Mercedes van or just a regular van that carries more luggage and more people. So it just depends on the budget you have. They have tons of different options. We chose the middle of the road. We chose a van for our airport to hotel, because we had 2 carry-ons, 2 check-ins, and a backpack and a bag and some other stuff. We kind of overloaded on our first trip, and so from now on we'll probably just do a carry-on and maybe 1 check between the 2 of us, if that at all, because it gets kind of cumbersome carrying all that luggage and stuff around. But that's what we did. It was very, very easy. There was a guy there, standing there with a sign. If you go down to where the pickup is at the hotel in Rome or in Barcelona or in Germany, you're gonna see the same thing. There's a bunch of people there holding up signs with your name on it. I mean, there's a bunch of people holding up signs with names on it. One of them, not all of them, will have your name on it. And so you just tell them your flight number, flight, airline, company, and then tell them the time that you're going to arrive, and they can kind of gauge when they should be there, and they'll be there holding a sign. You say, hey, that's me. They help you with your luggage to the vehicle, and you're off on your vacation. They know way before when you book it, they know when you're coming, where you're going, what hotel, everything. And if you decide to change, like you watch my Aleph hotel review and you say, oh, that's a better hotel, I'm gonna cancel mine and go to that one, you just go to Viator and say, hey, I'm changing my hotel, and they'll say fine, it's no big deal. It's a general price if you pick the right one from airport to hotel, regardless of where. And then if your flight changes or something, like it might do in some crazy times, if viruses take over the earth, then you just write them and let them know that what your new flight number is, if there's a new flight number or flight times, all that good stuff. And it's just really great because you can plan. We do a huge spreadsheet and Word doc of all the stuff and when and where. So it just kind of helps you say, okay, checked off, paid for, ready to go, and you know where you're going. We did a big cruise around the Mediterranean to 5 different countries, and so we left out of the Rome port, right outside of Rome, and so we did another transport from our hotel Aleph to the cruise harbor where you board. And then when we got back from our cruise, there was somebody already booked months in advance before we even left on our trip, already there, booked, ready to go and take us to our hotel. It's probably going to be a little bit more expensive than you're thinking. It was a shock for us. It was pretty pricey. Even in like Thailand, it's about $50 to $75 up to $100 to go from the airport to a hotel. So just be prepared for that. There are cheaper options. You can take a taxi. We figured, after calculating the distance from the airport, which the airport in Rome is kind of far out from Rome, so the distance, which is about 45 minute drive to our hotel, was going to be about the same in a taxi. And you can't pre-book it. It's not a nice car, and you just have to, when you get there, you have to stand in line for a taxi and hope that you get one and when you'll get one, and then the cost is about the same. So we just wanted to be prepared and have a little nicer car and just have that comfortableness of going to a new country or going there even again and being able to say, oh, that's our driver, and we know, we're going to get to the hotel, because you're going to be worn out from jet lag, worn out from flying that long, and just ready to get to your hotel. So that's just a little tip that'll save you some heartache. In like Thailand, you can wait up to an hour, even 2 hours in some seasons for a taxi. So spend the money, get a car set up. If you don't want to use Viator, you can, if you're booking through a nicer hotel like Hilton or the Waldorf Astoria or a Marriott or something, some of the nicer brands, Hyatt, they will normally, after you book your reservation, set up a transport for you that you'll pay them directly for. It's about the same cost as Viator. They'll send a nice Mercedes or something to the airport to get you and bring you back to that hotel. So that's another tip in some countries that you might want to check on with your hotel. But once you're there, you're in your hotel. Most countries that we've been to, or cities we've been to, you want to walk. I mean, you're going to miss a lot if you don't walk, because there's just so much to see. So our first night in Rome, we walked from Aleph all the way down past Trevi Fountain, past the Pantheon, Barini Square, and all the way to Rocciolis, which I'll show you on a map, and you can see Rocciolis and all that stuff in the other video I did on where to eat in Rome. But it's a pretty long walk, but it was very comfortable and easy to do, and we saw so much of Rome just in that first night's walk. So that's always a preferred thing, but we didn't walk the whole time because there's so much walking, and we had so little time that we wanted to see everything. So we did take some transportations to get from one place to another. Plus, even though we planned, when you're in a city for the first time, you're gonna make some mistakes. Like, you're at the statue of Moses, and oh, this closes, so we got to get over there like in 5-10 minutes, and we don't have time to walk it. Stuff like that's gonna happen, just because you're learning the layout. You can study the maps and do the research, but when you're there and you're in it, there's gonna be some things that are just gonna have to deviate. So we started off, we took cash. A little bonus tip here: go to your bank at least 2 weeks before your trip and order the euros if you're going to Europe, Italy and stuff. It's cheaper to get the conversion here at your bank in the United States. Usually, I'm assuming any other country too, but it's a lot cheaper than going to the ATM and paying ATM fees, and their conversion rates are going to a place that changes your money there. So I went to Wells Fargo and changed my money out. Taxis most of the time in Rome, even in Barcelona and in France, took cash only. They didn't take cards. So take some cash with you, some euros with you. But another tip too, if you're gonna take taxis, besides having cash, is in Rome and in most of Europe that we went to, France, Barcelona, Malta, Palermo, you need to look for the taxi sign. You can't just stop a taxi anywhere most of the time. You have to find the taxi place, and there's a ton of them, but just look for the taxi sign and you'll see a line of taxis usually, or at least one or two, and you can grab a taxi. Do not get in a taxi where the meter's not running. We got into two not knowing this and not paying attention, and they just gave us a price which was a lot more than we expected, and we had no proof. I mean, the meter was off, we didn't realize the meter was off, and they just like smiled. So make sure the meter's on. If it's not on, don't get in it. If you're in it and they won't turn the meter on, like you're safe, turn the meter on, point to it, get out of the taxi, go to the next one. Now, after saying all of that, taxis are awesome, but we found out that taxis are really the worst way to travel around the city. Now, you need them sometimes, and they're great in a pinch, but they are expensive. They're cash only, so they burn your cash up, but you don't want to carry a lot of cash around with you, and you don't want to carry a lot of cash with you to Europe, and so it's not safe. You can lose it, all this stuff, you run out of it. And so we found that in most cities like Barcelona and Rome, with a few exceptions of some smaller cities, that Uber is there. Uber works. Now, not in all countries. Like Japan has a very limited Uber. South Korea, like Seoul, has their own like Uber type taxi app. Thailand has some Ubering, but in Rome, Uber is awesome. Uber gets you black cars. They're cheaper than the taxis. You pay through the app, so you don't have to tip, and you don't have to pay. You can pay in American dollars, US dollars. They may do a conversion of euros, but it's very reasonable. And you just like book it right there on your phone. A nice black Mercedes or BMW or something really nice pulls up, cheaper than a taxi, gets you where you want to go. No like having to figure out, did I tip them? Did they rip me off? All this stuff. My tip for transportation around cities is always check to see if Uber is available. Lyft is still very new, so it's not in most countries outside of the United States, but Uber is very global. In London and Paris, some of the bigger cities for sure. So check if you're going there, check to see if they have Uber, and you more than likely will want to use them. Unlike here in the United States where there's UberX, which I recommend you never ever take. They're not background checked, they're not licensed. Most of the time the cars are wretched. If you ever use Uber or Lyft in the United States, use the level up, black, or luxury, and it's worth the extra money. They're licensed, bonded, insured, background checked, all that stuff. So when we figured out that Uber worked, we used it almost every time. A couple of exceptions when we were in a pinch and we needed to get somewhere quickly and there was a taxi right there we could just jump into, because with Uber you have to wait for them to come to you, find you. But we loved Uber, and it saved us money, it saved us our cash, because we could use cash for like snacks and stuff around town when we needed it. And so that is my tip for getting around towns. If it doesn't have Uber, then look and see if the taxi systems are good. Look and see if there's an alternative, like South Korea and Japan have alternative, and China have alternative like Uber-like stuff that you can use. So look for that, and that will save you a lot of hassle And of course, there's always the subway and trains. Europe is famous for their trains, and so is really Asia. So much more advanced than us. They have really fast trains, really nice trains. We did not take the subway, but we did take trains. You find a good big terminal near you. You can take an Uber or taxi to that terminal, and you can really go like all over the place for really cheap, really nice. We even bumped up to what they consider first class, and we just rode very comfortably. It was so cheap and so easy to get on and off and stuff like that. Especially if you want to travel like outside the city. Like when we went to Genoa, we went down to Portofino, and we could have gone to Milan. Really simple and cheap just for the day and come right back. Super easy to do that. But it's also not ideal, like if you're trying to go from the Vatican to the Colosseum or to the Forum, or you want to go, you know, up to the Castillo de San Angelo, or, you know, Spanish Steps down to the Colosseum. The train and subways are going to take you way longer. You can walk there faster than taking the subway. So if you need to get there fast, take a taxi, or what I suggest is call an Uber. My last little tip here is kind of a bonus tip, I guess, but a lot of travel agents, and my travel agent included, recommended this all-seeing bus. You'll see them all over the place in every city you go to. They're usually double-decker, they're open at the top, they hit all the main spots, they look awesome, they sound awesome. Hey, just hop on a bus, see everything, take some pictures. We were like, yeah, of course. I mean, it's super cheap. You buy it in advance, just like you can buy it through Viator, you can buy it through their website. So it's all prepaid for, it's super cheap, you have a pass. They're usually, if you buy the right ones, they're all day. You can buy like 3-day pass where you can get on the bus at any time, at any stop, and on and off, and it sounds amazing, right? I mean, you can ride around for a prepaid amount every day, see all the major sites, and boom. But is it really amazing? The answer is no. You have to be there like just wanting to take it super slow and see things at a very slow rate. They take forever at every stop to load and unload. They drive very slowly. I can say that we rode one for 3 hours and saw 2 things. We sat at one stop forever because they were canceling the bus out of service because it was done for the day and moving us to another bus. It was a huge headache. We also tried this in Barcelona because we only had a day there, and we thought, oh, it'll take us all around to the major things we want to see. Boom, boom, boom. And negativo. We got off at the first stop because we were almost running out of time to even make our tour at the Sangria de la Familia, which was our main thing we wanted to see, that big, beautiful church. And we just realized super quick, like this is taking way too long. Like we can get an Uber or taxi and get around to all the things a lot faster. We also wanted to see the House of Gaudi and a lot of other things in Barcelona. In Palermo, we wish we had done it. Palermo, at that point we were like, no, we're just gonna run around. But actually in Palermo, they take you out to where they shot Game of Thrones, and they take you out to all that stuff, and it is better. So there are places that you do need it, because we couldn't walk there by any means, and the taxis were expensive, and we didn't even know where it was or anything like that. Malta, you can walk around. You really don't need taxis or buses or anything. I think we took one taxi in Malta, but by and large, it's just, you know, it's just a kind of, I would wait till you get there and see if you need it and buy it there. If you're going through a cruise ship like Carnival or MSC or any of those, you can pre-purchase things like those tours through your cruise planning. And we didn't do that. We thought we could plan it ourselves, and we kind of wish now that we had planned it through them, because the major thing we ran into was the fear of not getting back before they left. And if you book through them, they guarantee you'll get back before they left. And so in Malta, when we did book our bus tour through them, and we even though it was late, we were all the way up at the Game of Thrones city, like Media, I think it's called, or Midda. We didn't have to fear because the bus driver knew and was communicating with the cruise ship, and we were guaranteed to get back on the ship. So think about that kind of stuff too. We wish we had had that kind of comfort, because it was all day long you're just worried about, okay, what's the time? How do I get to here? I got to do this by this time, got to be back by this time. And it can be very stressful and frustrating. So that's another little tip. Most people don't do the cruises. It's a great way to do it the first time, to just kind of see a lot of different stuff and kind of have your luggage and room travel with you. Plus, it's very nice to be out in the ocean and have a day at sea to like just chill at the pool. But I do recommend that you also go, like we went to Rome and spent like 4 days there, and I would recommend going to countries and actually staying there for a few days and like really getting to know the culture, seeing outside the tourist stuff, or besides the tourist stuff, seeing other stuff like that. So these are just some tips for transportation, all different ways, cruising around, trains, planes, and automobiles. So if you're gonna fly into a country, you can do all of this planning. I'll have links down below. You can choose your transportations very easily, securely, know they're gonna be there. On Viator, check the ratings because not everybody on Viator is the same. So see if they have some good ratings. I'll put the one down that we used in Rome, so you have that because we know that one's good. A little bonus tip before I go, kind of connected to Viator if you're booking tours, but also just when you're around town, in Rome especially, and even in Barcelona, but in most of Europe, all churches are free. So if you go to the Vatican, to St. Peter's, or you go around to like the Statue of Moses or some of the more famous churches, or any church, they're free. But you're gonna have people approach you saying, skip the line, buy this tour. Do not pay any money to people at all for churches. Also, another tip, if you go around Rome, you're gonna see a lot of African people that approach you and say, where are you from? They're trying to engage you. They're either pickpockets or they're scam artists. Stay away from them. Do not engage them. Do not talk to them. Walk right by them. I promise you, this will save you a lot of heartache. Another great thing to have with you is gum, a charger, a battery pack, so that you can charge your phones, charge your cameras, all that good stuff, so they don't die right in the middle of a tour you paid a lot of money for. You flew all the way there. You want to capture it, so keep that with you. All of this will be down in the link below. You should get something I recommend because I've used it and I trust it and I know it'll work for you. Also, I know a lot of young people or millennials or Generation Z use Selfie Sticks, but Selfie Sticks are awesome when you're on tours and you're transporting around the city. They extend out so you can get over crowds and actually shoot some really great shots of stuff where people aren't like all in front of you. They also are Bluetooth, so you can control your phone with at the bottom of the stick, so you don't have to kind of keep reaching up and turning it on and off. They will bend and curve and go pretty long, so they're just great to get not so much selfies of you, which you could do, like selfies of you in front of the Colosseum or the Vatican, some cool shots, but to get video and photos of the things you went to see, even when there's large crowds and you kind of need to like reach over and get a picture of a statue or something and you can't do that. So that's just a tip. All this stuff is down in the description below. You can take it for what it's worth, but we took them and loved them. If you get the one I recommend, it also is like a little tripod. So it's just got multi-uses for when you're doing stuff over in Europe or around the world. Yeah, we travel with it everywhere. Some other quick tips while you're traveling around the city, either taxi or Uber or train or subway or bus, wherever you choose to do. Always take some water, some snacks with you. Inevitably you'll be in a long tour like we were at the Vatican that took several hours and we were starving. We had some Mentos with us, which were great because it just kind of helped sustain us, but we wish we had had some water and maybe some chips or something. I mean, you can't take a lot of stuff in there or anything that would be messy, but you just need some little stuff to kind of bide you over to go to lunch or dinner. I hope that this helps you. I hope that this makes your trip a lot easier and less stressful, and you can travel in style on a budget. That's our goal. And if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so. Cancel at any time, but you're gonna want to be notified first when I put up new videos of travel tips as you travel the world. And we're gonna have all kinds of cool stuff coming, from gear to flights to city tips to where to eat, hotels, all that kind of stuff. So be sure and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video. I will see your beautiful faces in the next Zach's travel video. Safe travels. Peace.